Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So this conference is organized for investigating paradigm changes. If there will be one significant paradigm change in Central and Eastern Europe, that will be the change of the type of using of comparative advantages you mentioned in your you mentioned in your in your lecture that Slovakia is using some kind of comparative advantage. So the first how can I excuse me, how can I move this? Okay, thank you very much. So the first thing what we should investigate, what does it mean comparative advantages? Probably for the economist, the next example is known. This example is known. That's the famous Ricardian example, comparative advantage in case of Portugal and England. Because for wine production, the possibilities in Portugal are very obvious, and for textile production in England also that time. So probably the Englander never will produce wine. And it's good for the Portugal to sell the wine for England and to purchase the textile. But that's not the Slovakian or the Hungarian and the Czech comparative advantage. I don't want to hurt any national feelings, so I speak about Hungary. Okay? What kind of comparative advantages Hungary having? I tell you an example that explains the same way how the Ricardian example. Try to imagine that there is a very clever lady named Sue, educated lady, and that lady is a good manager, but from her mother learned to cook. So she's a good cook too, she. But Sue realizes if she cooks, then she is losing money, because by management she can earn more money than by cooking. And what does she say? Jim, come on and let's be my cook. Because you can cook, you cook for me, I make the management, and thus have Jim comparative advantage? Of course he has. Because this way he can live. Let's think about the difference between the two examples. In the first example, the education level or the development level is not important. Because in California, they also produce wine. And the comparative advantages are existing between California and England too. And California is more developed than England. But in this case, there is something problematic. I may say, I dare to say, that between Portugal and England, there are no so big risks than between Sue and Jim. Especially in the digitization area, your lecture, excuse me, just drinking, in your lecture you were dealing with the digitization. So that's coming 5 years, 6 years. And if the food can be cooked by machines, why not? Is it so complicated? Not so complicated. Then Jim will be superfluous, can be sent away. Okay, I don't need you anymore, says Sue. Why not? Does she make any wrong? So, what can Jim done? That's the most important issue. If a paradigm change has to be the way to find a new comparative advantage. This is a very dangerous comparative advantage. The way what the Chinese say, I have read some books from Justin Lefouin, and he's an American Chinese. And the main concept of his is the upgrading, upgrading, upgrading. It's very difficult to translate. I tried to translate into Hungarian this word upgrading. There is no Hungarian word. I don't know whether in Slovak you have or in Czech you have such a translation. But it's better, like cash flow. It's not controlling. It cannot be translated. If I would like to explain to my students what does it mean upgrading, I would say if Jim is earning some money, then some parts of that money should be developed, should be invested into developments. Don't consume that money. You should develop yourself. At least you should learn management. What Sue does? You should learn more, better, to be more better cooks or something else. If you don't upgrade, you remain in a risky position. Please substitute your situation into that example. I won't do that because I don't want to hurt national emotions. I think Hungary is a gym position, in a gym position. It is scientifically processed. So what I am telling, there was a third lecture when somebody spoke about, I think you, but I didn't understand your lecture because it was in Slovak and there was no translation then. But how I understood you were speaking about some varieties in capitalism. And there is a school which is trying to define the different kind of capitalism and is identifying 4 groups. The liberal market economies, that's England and United States. The corporate market economies, that's Germany, France, Austria, typically, where the interference of the state into the society is stronger. That is an interesting new way of identifying the state-controlled market economies. Sorry, the Russians are omitted from this group. They never write about Russians. Instead of BRIC, they write about BIC, that Brazil, China, and India. But I don't want to speak about these varieties, just about the force, that's the DME, and sorry to say, they have given a name to this category. It's dependent market economy. So in the name, they are already showing the problem. Excuse me, I would like to express my gratitude to the Trexima because I was a little bit, I am not a Slovakian expert, and I asked them what they think about these issues, and they helped me a lot in understanding. The problem is that we are speaking about our results as a marvelous results. Success, success, success. It's not true. It has a price, and here are the main price elements. So, dependence on the most important investment. Not we are making the decision. Somebody else are making the decision. Not the Hungarian and Slovakian small enterprises are in the center of the development by the multinational. Very important that the agreements are not made on social basis, but on individual basis between the different producing partners. There is a huge primitivization impact on our educational system. And the last one is very important, this division, segregacy, income disparities, and territorial disparities. Don't forget that Eastern Europe was in such kind of situation. There is a huge discussion in history that Engels was stupid. when he said that the second serfdom was created in Eastern Europe. Now, the American has defended Engels. The communist Engels defended the American. Acemoglu and Robinson told that he was true. There was an offer from Western Europe. Please, we go into urbanization. We make the industry. You be the agricultural supplier. Please, it's a good deal. Why not to do it? And the Eastern European Jim understood it's a good possibility. They didn't develop. And what was the result? Some Eastern European countries were taken off the map. So if we don't upgrade, that will be the outcome of the 21st century. The way it was also mentioned in the lectures, I don't want to repeat, this kind of investment into human capital, the content is in these brackets. My time elapsed, and I wanted to focus on the necessity of paradigm change. I wish I were not true. Thank you very much.